Hello, everybody, and welcome to another day in editing paradise. If you are stumbling across this on YouTube, then sorry. Today we are. This is a class for Weber State University's video editing class in Adobe Premiere. It's really entry level stuff. So if you want to go back on some of the other videos and get caught up, you can. Students, welcome back. Here we go. When I left you off last time, I had gotten 6 clips onto the timeline, and I was struggling to find the right way to use this shot. Well, I edited ahead and created a solution that doesn't include this shot yet. I know exactly, when I shot this shot, I knew exactly what I was going to use it for, and it wasn't for this, and I'm trying to use it for this right now, and it's not working. So just as a reminder, we've got a shot where girl comes out of the closet. She runs down the hall, runs in front of her sister, and gets her attention. And then we cut right after this line. Okay, right after she says her name. And then we have this shot of the sister pausing her movie and sitting up and getting her attention to her. So this shot I know isn't working, so I'm going to go ahead and just select it in the timeline, hit delete, and I'm going to do something different. Now, this shot is on the second track, which is totally fine. But basically what I'm going to do is use this right head turn of Eva to connect the action to saying this line right there. Okay, so we're going to make this frame line up with this frame. Now, I can do that by simply grabbing this second clip and with my mouse on the spot, moving it to right there. And then hopefully that'll work. If I just go frame by frame. I actually want to trim this clip right here. So, okay, so that connects together pretty well. She's turning her head. Should probably be a couple more frames over. Now check this out. If I zoom in, here's another little tip for moving clips around. If I zoom in and just take a look at count how many frames over I'm missing. So this is where her head needs to be over, but then you cut over and she's still turning her head. If I count 1, 2, 3, 4, right there, right? So if I hit, if I go to my number pad on my keyboard and type -4, that'll move this clip, because it's selected, that'll move it to the left 4 frames. And then if I hit enter, wait, -4, don't, there, it went over. Now, if I take a look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, it looks like it's matching up a lot better. All right, so now what we have is the audio from this clip is interfering with the audio from this clip. In the timeline, you're looking like this, but if you grab the intersection between these 2 audio tracks, I actually need to expand this one, then you'll get a little line that goes in between those. That is your volume line. It's actually called an envelope, but if you click on this and drag it up or down, you can turn the volume up, but if you drag it down all the way, it goes to -infinity. Now, I'm going to play this back and listen to it again.
Kai, have you seen my LOL collection?
Okay, so now she's getting her attention with Kai. We cut to Kai sitting up, but then in this clip, we have the sound. I'm going to expand this. We have the clip of Eva saying Kai. So that peak right there in the waveform, that's her saying Kai. And then that's her saying, have you seen my LOL collection? So what we want to do is trim this back this way till right after she's done saying Kai. Now we're left with a little blank space here. That's okay, because we'll get into more audio editing to make that sound better later. But for now, we're just going for performance.
Have you seen my LOL collection?
All right. So we're looking at Kai here as an audience. We're looking at Kai sit up. But then Eva proceeds with her line. And then after she starts saying her line, this little head turn is a really good opportunity for this J cut. Now, this isn't a true J cut, but if you look right here, the intersection of these two clips makes a J. What a J cut means is the audio for the upcoming shot starts before you can see it. Okay, so we're seeing this shot, even though we're hearing Eva, we're seeing the shot of Kai, but then we cut for the tail end of Eva's line. Have you seen my LOL collection? Okay.
Have you seen my LOL collection?
So that, I think that works pretty good. Now, Eva has asked Kai a question again. We're going to go back to Kai and see what her either response is or her what her response is or what her reaction is. But let me show you another little trick here. We're going to do this all on track 1. All right, so I'm still focusing on this cut right here. I'm going to do this J cut with it all on track 1. All right, so let's put audio, everything up on here. Now we're going to get into rolling edits. Rolling and ripple, they work together. So our rolling tool right here, or the rolling tool, let's slip. Where's the rolling tool? Oh, it's behind the ripple tool. So N will activate the rolling tool. But I can, again, with the selection tool, I can convert the selection tool into the rolling tool by holding Command again. Earlier, oh crap, sorry everybody. Maybe I should get up and go run a couple of laps and then come back. So just like with the selection tool, if I hold down Command, that turns that trim bracket into a yellow bracket. But if I put it right over the intersection, see the arrows going off both sides? That is the rolling tool. Now, it's just like taking 2 markers or 2 dowels and placing them on the table under your hand and rolling them next to each other. One rolls one way while simultaneously the other one rolls out the other. In order to keep them together, they have to roll at the same time. So it's just like unrolling 2 pieces of tape. Like you roll one up while simultaneously unrolling the other. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to roll this edit all the way up until she's looking to the correct side on the right clip. Okay. Now let's take a look at this. She looks, back. So we actually have a nice little opportunity here. In this clip, she's actually looking left, right, left, and then I think she's kind of looking right again. Let's look at it. Let's convert this to the ripple tool. She is. But we have one little problem, and that is that Kai is kind of looking at the camera here. So let's ripple this back. Hold down Command, turn that into the yellow trim tool, and go back until she is looking that way. Okay. So we have continuity between the 2 shots, and we have a good performance from Kai. All right. So let's go, just watch the action. I'm going to go back here and watch this action. Left, right, left. Okay. But the problem is I put both of those audios are on the same track now and they're trying to share space. But so one's covering the other one. In order to get this line, I'm going to have to roll this back so that we can get more of this audio, but I don't want the video to come at the same time. So let's teach you how to edit audio separate from video. Hold down Option and select any clip. Okay, I'm holding Option down. See how this white box just went around only this video? Now that only the video is selected and the audio isn't going with it. Okay, so now if I don't hold down Option and select it, it'll select the audio and the corresponding video. The same applies for editing. If I trim, holding down Option, I can trim this shot back and it leaves a blank space, but the audio from that shot is still there. So I'm going to undo that. So basically, that's what I want to do. I want to trim this back to make room for more audio, holding down Option the whole time from this shot. Now, that is what rolling does. The rolling tool will trim this one and do this trim simultaneously. All right, so let me show you. So now I have to use Option and Command in order to turn this into the rolling tool, but to only do it to the audio. Now watch. Do, 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 do. Right there. Now let's listen to it.
Let me see my LOL collection.
Okay, now we probably should go another frame, but check this out. Keyboard, you can just hold down Option and Command and single click that intersection between those two clips. Now see how the end of both of them are red and it's only on the audio, not the video. Now if I type -1, enter, it'll adjust that one frame. Now I'm going to listen to it again.
Let me see my LOL collection.
Okay, not quite enough. Option Command, -2. Let's try going 2 frames this time.
Let me see my LOL collection.
Okay, now what I've done is it's the exact same thing as I did before, having this up on track 2, but now everything's on track 1. Okay, and there's the J, shaped like a J. That's why it's a J cut. If you rolled this the other direction, let's pretend this is the face you wanted, but the audio performance we wanted was in this shot. What we would do is we'd roll it the other direction, and that creates an L cut using the rolling tool. So I'm going to undo that. Okay.
Let me see my LOL collection.
That sound, that scraping sound, that is the sound of Kai sitting up right next to the camera and the audio going really bad. So I don't like the way that sounds. I'm going to come in and hold down Command, click on that volume line right here. That adds a keyframe. Click on this volume line right here. Same volume line. And then just drag this diamond down. Drag that keyframe down. Now watch what happens. It changes the volume from here to here, and it turns it down over time. It's like turning the volume knob down. Okay. We'll get more into audio later. That sound was just driving me crazy. Now, speaking of sounds that are driving me crazy, let's hit the home key and go back to the beginning. Okay, here we go. That's driving me crazy. Ready and action. Okay, we don't want any of that stuff, right? So I'm going to hold down Command, put a keyframe on that volume, turn it down. Now, also, let me just let you hear it. Okay, so you don't hear me talking over the shot at all. That's how we get rid of directors talking over the top of performances. There's this loud clicking sound in the hallway shot. It's getting me every time. Let's just create an L cut by holding down Command and Option and rolling that and just borrowing a little extra audio from this one to cover up the click sound. That way there's still sound happening. We don't have a blank spot. Okay, but at least it sounds a little bit better. If we wanted to make it sound even more consistent, the sound of her footsteps on this have a different quality than her footsteps in this shot. So we really could just roll this back this way and cover up the audio from both of them. Okay, or we can use the audio from, do vice versa. I'm going to undo that. And see right there. I got it back. Now, let's try the opposite. Borrow more stepping from this shot. Okay, that actually, I think I liked that one better. So, using a combination of Option to select only the audio or only the video, and then rolling these cuts, it offsets the cuts of the audio from the cuts of the video. And by doing that, it makes the cut less abrupt, so that if a cut is happening in the audio and the video at the same time every single time, your brain will start to perceive the cuts as harder. And even though maybe this sound isn't perfect, it's easier to watch with the audio being cut at a separate time from the video. And by offsetting it, it actually makes it look like it's more smooth. All right, so next decision to make. This is editing narrative film. So what I mean by narrative is we're telling a narrative. We're connecting all these shots together to make it look like it's all happening in real time, as though we didn't cut and move the camera around and do multiple performances. We're trying to make it all flow together as though this scene happened all at one time. So next shot I want to go to is this shot of Kai. Okay, so she asks Kai a question. We have all of this where Kai's sitting up.
Do you know where my LOL collection is?
Kai looks. She looks.
No.
Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to do one of those moments where dum dum dum, she looks to the right. Dum dum dum, she looks to the left. Nope. Okay. So what I just performed for you is the timing that I personally want to go for with this. So the moment I'm looking for right now is where Kai gives her a little look, and then she looks to the one side and then the other side and says nope. So I'm going to hit I there.
Collection is.
Now, here's my next keyboard tip. I'm going to set in and out points and find the location without ever touching my mouse. All right. I have spacebar for play and stop, but I also have J, K, and L. J will play something backward. K is stop. And L is play forward.
No.
Okay, so I can stop there. And then I can hit O on my keyboard. And take a look. J, K, and L. Backward, stop, forward, right above them, I and O. And then with I can also keep my thumb on the space bar for pushing play. So now if I missed that out point, like if I went too far, I can play backward till right before she says nope.
No.
And then play and stop, hit my O there. So I have played forward, backward, stopped, play, set I and in point, out point, and I haven't had to use my mouse one time to touch any of this stuff. So much faster to do that. All right, so I'm just going to put that down here, play it back, see how it looks.
My LOL collection. Collection is.
So this might be enough performance. We could cut sooner maybe, but I'm just going to watch these two next to each other. And I'm going to, again, we have extra performance.
Collection is.
You hear that extra performance from Eva? If we want all of this performance from Kai, we can just turn this down again, and we'll adjust the background sound later. Okay, so that might be a little bit long of a stare. So I'm going to tighten this cut up. So there's a bit of a space. I'm going to snap my fingers where I feel like this should cut to Kai.
Have you seen my LOL collection?
Cut. So I'm a little early. All right, I want to cut a little bit earlier. So I'm going to zoom in here a little closer to where I think it should cut. I'm going to, with my selection tool, hold down my command and ripple that back to there. Now, it seems like this stare from Kai is happening way too long. Probably could come right after this line from Eva, because Eva is saying her line. Kai's natural instinct as an actor is to turn her head as though Eva just got done asking right here. So let's start with that. I'm going to ripple this back. Did you see that just shrink up? That keeps everything connected. The ripple tool keeps everything connected. Ripple tool is really safe to use when you only have one track and you're doing your assembly like this. You're assembling your clips on your timeline. If you start getting into where you have music that's starting back here and sound effects that are in different places, and you do this ripple edit, it could throw timing off later on down the line. So be careful with the ripple edit tool, because it can also be a dangerous tool. All right, let's check this timing. Look that way. Look that way.
No.
All right. But what we want to do is we want to have her look. We're going to insert what she's looking toward. In this case, it's the windows. And if you look down at my thumbnails, you can see the window shot right there. And then you can see the kitchen shot right there for when she looks the other direction. For when she looks the other direction. So with my playhead right here, I'm going to double click on this clip down in my bin. And I'm just going to find, it's all the same, but probably the middle of it's the best. It's probably when I'm holding it the most still. I'm going to hit I, hit O, and it doesn't matter how long it is. I'm going to adjust the timing once it's in there. But remember how my playhead's right here? This is where I want to put it. This is a perfect opportunity. I need to make sure that track 1 is armed for audio and video. This is a perfect opportunity for this insert command. Okay, so I'm going to select it here, and I'm just going to hit comma on the keyboard, and bam, it puts it in there. It makes the cut and pushes this over to make room for it. Now let's check the timing of that shot. Okay, might actually seem a little short. So I'm going to add a little bit of time to it by holding down command and trimming that out just a little bit more. Now, see those little gray numbers underneath my mouse right now? It says plus 0.00006. That's adding 6 frames. If I let go right now, I've added 6 frames. And it makes the new duration of it 1 second and 13 frames. So I'm actually going to go back to make it 1 second and 12 frames, which at 24 frames a second, that's actually 1.5 seconds. So she does a look there, switch. And then at this point, we're going to show the shot of the other thing she's looking at. So we're going to repeat that drop in thing. So I'm going to double click on the kitchen shot. Again, it's just a shot that goes on for a while. This little moment could be good. It's definitely handheld. I want to maybe get the more steady part. You can see me scrubbing along. I'm not wasting my time watching this shot because it's just a shot of the kitchen. So I'm going to hit I for in. And then I think what we could do is if we want to do that 1.5 seconds again, we can go here and make sure, hit O. That's 15 frames. We can just drag this over until that becomes 112 again. Then we have the same length. Now, if you care a lot about rhythm, then making that 1.5 seconds will matter to you. If you go purely based on feel, which I usually do, you can do that too. Now, this clip is a 1.5 seconds. I'm going to hit comma, and that will split that clip again and insert this right there. Now I've got 1, 2, actually I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clips that are almost all exactly the same length. That might come in handy when it comes to placing music in there. But that's fine tuning for later. So let me watch this.
Have you seen my LOL collection?
Look, pause.
No.
Okay. All right. We can further lengthen out the tension. So let's pretend we're trying to build tension here, and we're intending to put music in later, and we could put music in right now if we are if we already have a piece of music that we want to use to build suspense, and then we can edit the timing of these shots to that. But let's pretend we're custom scoring this and we're relying on our shots to build the tension. We can add additional shots to this. So she looks. We could come back to Eva at this point and get this. Okay. And then here's a way to insert a shot into an edit without your playhead being at the right spot. So before I put the playhead at the perfect spot, and then with the tracks armed, I just hit comma and it dropped it down. Problem with this is I came up here and started looking in here without placing this right where it needs to go. I know it needs to go after this shot. So what I'm going to do is grab it and drag it down like I normally would. And I'm going to place it right there. But before I let go, I'm going to hold down Command. Bunk. And see what that does? That inserts it where I'm going to let go of it. All right. So if I let go, it inserted it right there with all this extra room. So now if we're really building tension, we go to Kai. Look. What's she looking at? She's concerned. Go back to Kai. Look that way. Then we can maybe just get this next little bit. And she kind of does something fun right here. She just kind of...
Nope.
twists her head to the side here. Actually, I might want to get this little moment right here where she sucks that into her mouth. Yeah, set a new endpoint there. Okay, so now I'm going to drag this down to right after this clip we just looked at, but I'm going to hold down Command so that it'll drop it right there. Now, slip tool. This is a really handy tool because what the slip tool does is, let's see, I got this part of this performance right here, but in looking back at this, I actually want to get um, that part of it where she cocks her head to the side instead. Okay, I know this is right here. We're getting this look right here, but I want to get the later part. This is, let's pretend this is occupying the perfect amount of space. You know, I don't want to set an in and out point up here. Put it right here, trim this back, and then put it down on there. Like, that's kind of a lot of work. I know that this is already occupying the right amount of space, so I'm going to do the slip tool. Slip tool activated by Y. What it will do is play it like a reel-to-reel tape. Okay, so an old tape, if you look at it from the top, the two reels are turning at the same time, but across the top of the tape, you see different parts of the video or different parts of the audio. That's what this does. So just pretend there's a little wheel on this side and a wheel on this side, and they simultaneously make it so that this little roll of tape goes this way. Okay, so I'm going to grab this, start pulling it this way, and up above, top left in your program is the clip to the left. The top right is the clip to the right. The video of Eva on the left is the where it's going to come in, and the video shot of her on the right is the new place where it's going to go out. So I want it before she sticks her tongue out, right there. Okay, so she starts looking concerned, and then she's like, what are you looking at? Okay, so let's take a look at this now. Okay, so it's kind of like, I'm going to get just a little bit more of that. So it's kind of like if these two were physically on top like this, and then you had extra footage from this down below. This is what slipping does. Okay, it just lets you see a different part of it through this hole. All right, sliding is the opposite. If you grab your slide tool, it will slide this on top of the two. Okay, it takes this exact clip and it shows you more or less of the ones on either side of it simultaneously, without having to go, hey, I want to move this over here. That's what the slide tool does. All right, so slip and slide. They're tools that you don't use real often, but when you do get to use them, they're very handy. All right, so let's see how this looks now. You seen my LOL? Look. What are you looking at?
Nope. No.
Okay, so we don't want to get Kai saying nope in that one. We want to go back to her. So I'm just going to turn this audio down. She said nope.
Nope.
Now, if there's any one thing that I want you to do, it would be to cut on this action. She looks disappointed. Okay, this disappointment. I'm going to hit I here. She starts to sit back. Now I know for a fact this is where I wanted to have this shot. Okay, because she sits down. In point. All right, now I'm going to put this at the end. Cutting on this action is like probably the one thing that I really want you to do so that we can have a chance to use this shot. So she says it was right there. And we have several different takes of her saying it's right there. And then we have takes of Kai looking at her while she says it's right there. And she only says it was right there, right there. And now I don't know where it is. But you could also mimic the performance to kind of add like a comedic moment to have her go, it was right there, right there, there, right there. And you can do that by manipulating the angles and using different takes from there, right there to make her say right there, right, right there, over and over and over again. So I am going to go ahead and just maybe edit a little bit quickly right now so that you can just kind of see me assemble this together. And then I'm going to try to continue to talk through it, but we want to get through this, right? Yeah, so let's go. Let's go back to this shot and get her right there.
It was right there. Right there. Right there.
Go back to this one, maybe.
Nope. It was right there. Right there. And now I don't know where it is.
That's not really saying anything. See what this one's like.
There. And now I don't know where it is. It was right there. Right there.
I actually kind of like this shot because Kai's little movement there. And then we can go back to this shot.
Nope. It was right there. Right there. And now I don't know where it is.
I actually kind of like that little look of earnestness there at the end. Let's see what this one's like.
Now I don't know where it is.
Oh, that's funny too. I think this performance is a little bit more genuine though.
It was right there. Right there. Right there. And now I don't know where it is.
Okay, so now we have,
No. It was right there. Right. Right there. Right there. Right there.
so yeah, so we have a right there, right there, right there, maybe too many times. And it kind of drags out a little bit, so
It was right there.
it was right there.
Right.
So maybe we do a ripple cut, ripple edit here, shorten that one to go.
It was right there. Right there. Right there. Right.
We could also kind of maybe switch these around. All right, here's a fun little thing. If you're doing these and you're like, I don't want it to go from this shot to this shot to this shot. I want it to go from this shot to this shot to this shot. Now you can do a little swap-a-rooney by clicking this one, dragging it over here, but instead of letting it go and cutting that one, hold down Command, and see the arrows? It means it's going to push everything over to make room. Now, again, that can be dangerous if you've already got music and stuff you're timing it to, but that's a good way to switch them. All right, so it was right there.
Right.
So I like that. It was right there, right there.
It was right there. Right. Right there. Right there. And
All right.
it was right there. Right. Right
Um,
There. And
all right, I'm going to undo this. I'm going to get this little bit back. And I'm going to use track 2 for a reaction from Kai.
right here. Right here.
That little blink right there.
Right.
Okay. But, all right. Sorry, I just yelled. Now, this time, we've got all this audio happening under here that we want to keep. Don't necessarily want to add more audio from this one. So do you see this little film strip right here? That means we can drag just the video from that shot down here so that we can get a reaction shot, because we have this close-up shot and this close-up shot from 2 different takes. But we can cover that up with a little reaction shot from Kai. Plus, we're getting a little sense of the nuance that Kai's giving us.
Right. 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 There. And now I don't know. Right. There. And now I don't know where it is.
Okay, let's cut right there. And now I really like this moment. This little
And now I
shrug.
don't know where it is. There. One more on.
Again, Eva's talking, but we get this nice little, I'm going to put this on, yeah, on 2 is fine. Now we got to get Eva leaving sad. Let's see what this one is like. So there's a shrug happening here. It's actually pretty good. So maybe we'll connect this together using this shrug. All right, put this down. See, we're cutting this scene together.
Right. There. And now I don't know where it is.
So now we need to figure out how we want to get this exit to happen. So she's sat here. That might actually be a good shot. We also have this as an option for leaving. All right. Kai does a little glance at the camera there. I think I might want to go to this wide one, actually, for Eva standing up and leaving. Now, let's see how this fits. We could do another little back and forth if I'm one of those directors that's really attached to his material. She does like this extra shrug that's bigger, and we can connect that to, oops, that didn't ripple, weird. And we can connect that to this bigger shrug here. And then insert in between the two another earnest look from Eva. Not that one, though. Maybe this one? Maybe not. Okay, maybe that won't work. I'm looking for a good opportunity to... Maybe it won't work. Maybe just this second shrug is better. I don't know. I kind of like the subtlety of this one. Like, I don't care. Like, there's so much not caring in that first shrug. All right. Here we go. All right. Here's the next thing for selecting. If you grab these two clips and move them over, you can totally like do that. But let's pretend we're looking at this much of the timeline, but there's like way more stuff out to the side here that we can't see. That's where your A tool comes in. A will select everything. See the two over facing arrows? It'll select everything audio, video related from there over so that you can close this gap. Because if you use your selection tool and try to close this gap and delete this space, it'll delete that entire space for that track, and then it'll muck other things up over here. So just for future reference, if you hit A, you can select everything from there over and do that ripple move. Also, if you're trying to make extra room, if you're like trying to add some space here and doing different things, you can do the same thing. You can move everything out of the way, do cuts in here, do changes and move everything around, and then you can grab it all again, bring it back and snug it all up. So that's just a little tip there. All right, selection tool again. Here we go. Let's take a look. We just need to make sure that that shrug is belonging. So let's match these two up. So we want this to not be too close. All right. So sometimes when I'm thinking about it, I'll use the ripple tool because I'm conscious. Other times I start trimming and I'm like, well, rather than undo, I'll just keep going. So whichever happens faster. Now from here, I was planning on using this shot because this is the big reveal. So let's find the place where we want it to start. Don't think about what I might be getting or not getting. Ready, go. And that's pretty much action. Dun dun dun, right there. So let's put that at the end. See how well it fits together. And now we need to figure out which one of these we like the best. So she pulls it out.
Sorry, I just can't help myself.
Or this one. I think I like that.
Sorry, I just can't help myself.
And now we need to figure out how to end it. So she starts to move again.
Sorry, I just can't help myself.
Maybe go back to this wide shot where she...
Hi.
All right. So let's see how this looks when it's all together. We're going to add titles and music here. We're actually going to re-edit this whole scene using better audio too.
Have you seen my LOL collection?
So there's lots of sound issues. but I'm just watching this for pacing right now.
No. It was right there. Right there. And now I don't know where it is. Sorry, I just can't help myself. Hi.
All right, cool. That is the scene edited. So next check-in is going to be just getting to this point. All right. The next check-in also is going to be starting to send me some exports of your video. All right, I will see you on the next one, and we'll get this going a little bit farther.